Well, it's been a couple years since we've done a Blu-ray collection video, mostly because it takes a couple years to recover from doing a Blu-ray collection video. But today, we're going to go through my entire Blu-ray collection movie by movie. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Zach, and I started this YouTube channel because I just cannot watch movies or own movies without having to talk about them. If you find yourself the same way, you're in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you have it in you, if you want to, comment down below your entire Blu-ray collection. I know some of them will be bigger than others, so you don't have to, but I would love to see yours. With that in mind, this video is going to be quite long, so it's probably going to have very little edits to it. And also, my Blu-ray collection for the first half will probably be in chronological or alphabetical order. But because I did move pretty recently, there's a lot in the back half that's going to be out of order. So if something doesn't pop up in the B's that you're like, hey, why don't you own that? Well, it may come up in the X's, the Y's, the Z's. I don't know. But we're just going to go through this collection because I haven't done this, I think, since like 2022. So I've got some new titles. I've added some stuff to my collection. So without further ado, let's just get started. And I'm kind of a weirdo in some ways. My collection actually starts with the MCU in chronological order, the best that I can get it to be in chronological order. So in reverse order, we are going to go through those first. So up first, we've got Deadpool and Wolverine, the most recent MCU film, and I love it. Then we've got The Marvels. Not as bad as some people say, but I see all the criticisms. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the now ruler of DC, James Gunn's last movie in the MCU. And he did a pretty good job wrapping up the trilogy. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. MODOK's the best. Come at me. I don't care. Thor, Love and Thunder, another one that gets a lot of hate. Honestly, don't hate it. I find that movie quite funny and I enjoy it. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. In some regards, I like it more than the first Black Panther. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a disappointment, but still enjoyable. Oh, Spider-Man No Way Home. Forever grateful this movie exists. Love it, love it, love it. Black Widow, a movie that came too late and didn't exactly do the character full justice, but I liked it. Eternals, probably my least rewatched MCU movie. I don't watch it very often or at all. Shang-Chi, Legends of the Ten Rings. Recently just rewatched this one. Still one of the best MCU films since Endgame. Then we get into some of their TV shows. So unfortunately, this collection is not complete because they slowly but surely are putting out more of their Disney Plus shows. But up first, we got Loki. I can't wait to own season 2. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did not put the tag over Falcon's face. Don't come at me. That was Walmart, and I refuse to take it out of its plastic wrapping. WandaVision, probably still the best Disney Plus MCU show. Spider-Man Far From Home. Honestly, of all the MCU movies and all the Spider-Man movies, that one is the one that's aging the least greatest for me. It's not aging well. Avengers Endgame, movie of my lifetime. Captain Marvel. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Avengers Infinity War, the event of the year in 2018. Black Panther. Thor Ragnarok. Spider-Man Homecoming. See, some of these may not be in order. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At times, I feel like I like that one more than even the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Doctor Strange. Captain America, Civil War. One of my top 3 MCU films still to this day. Ant-Man with my my movie stub in there. Some of my movies I still have my movie tickets, so I like to put them in the casing. Avengers Age of Ultron. Captain America, The Winter Soldier. One of the best. Guardians of the Galaxy, an MCU classic. Thor, The Dark World, my wife's favorite Thor movie. Don't ask me why. Iron Man 3. The Avengers. I'll never forget seeing that. I was like 12 years old when that came out. It was perfect timing for me. Captain America, the First Avenger. Underrated. Thor. Iron Man 2. The Incredible Hulk in this nice green tinted Blu-ray case. And the one that started it all, Iron Man. I love the MCU. All right, moving right along from the MCU, we get into some numbers. Starting with this 9-film set. This is of Christopher Reeve's Superman to Superman Returns, I believe. Yes, and then the Burton Schumacher Batman films. I don't know why it comes in this like lunchbox tin case, but that's how they decided to package it. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't like Cloverfield, but I really love 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's underrated, and John Goodman gives a phenomenal performance in that one. 12 Strong. 17 again, a Zac Efron classic in my household. 21 and 22 Jump Street. 42, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. And I have to still watch this film. Haven't seen it yet. 50-50. 50 First Dates, my wife and I's favorite Adam Sandler film. 101 Dalmatians, Disney classic. 101 Dalmatians 2, not as classic. 300, a Zack Snyder classic. I think it's all right. I enjoy it. 500 Days of Summer. Love this movie. 1917, one of the best modern day war films. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Don't ask me what it's about. Don't ask me what it's about. A Bug's Life. The Abyss. Recently watched it. It's a phenomenal filmmaking experience. A Christmas Story. Also recently watched it this past Christmas. And one of my rewatched one of the new Christmas movies added into my Christmas movie rewatch routine. Adventures in Babysitting. Grew up with that. Love it. Adventures of Tintin, which we're supposed to still get a sequel from. I don't know if we'll ever see that, but they keep talking about it. Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura. Alrighty then. Airplane, probably my favorite spoof movie of all time. Aladdin. Then we're getting into the A's here, I guess. The Alien Anthology. I still have yet to pick up Alien Romulus, but this is Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. I've got Prometheus kicking around somewhere as well. Alien vs. Predator. Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Vomited out like they did the movie. Terrible movie. And Alien Covenant. The Amazing Spider-Man. Hot take on the channel. My least favorite Spider-Man film, but I still like it. Amazing Spider-Man 2. American Fiction. American Sniper. Anchorman. One of my favorite Will Ferrell comedies. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Ant Bully. My wife loves this movie from our childhood. I get a kick out of it still. Apollo 13. Aquaman. A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place Part 2. Arrival. Arthur Christmas. Kind of an underrated Christmas film, in my opinion. The Artist. Love this film. Super underrated. A Star is Born, 1976, I think. I can't remember. A Star is Born, 2018. Then we get into Austin Powers. My favorite is The Spy Who Shagged Me. Avatar. Avatar: The Way of Water. I like it more than the first Avatar. Baby Driver. And you can see here, got my ticket stub from when I went and saw that in theaters. Love that film. Favorite from 2017. Back to the Future trilogy. Favorite movies of all time. Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2, as well as Bad Boys for Life. And I don't have Ride or Die yet. Bambi. Barbie. Hi, Ken. Batman the movie. This is Adam West, and it is hysterical. Batman Begins. The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. Batman the Killing Joke. Pretty disappointing comic book adaptation, but and Batman versus Superman. Unlike the MCU, I do not have the DCEU in chronological order. I don't love them as much, so Batman v Superman sits with the Batmans, and there's my movie ticket. Which then brings us to The Batman, Beauty and the Beast, my favorite Disney animated film. Beauty and the Beast, the live action, not my favorite live action Disney movie, and I don't honestly like it that much. The Beekeeper, fun Jason Statham action flick. Beetlejuice. The Ben Affleck director collection of Live by Night, The Accountant, Argo, and The Town. I love all four of those. Ben-Hur, Big, Tom Hanks classic. Big Hero 6. I'd love to get a sequel to that movie still, to be honest. Where is that, Disney? Big Trouble in Little China. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, my favorite of the Bill and Ted films. And Bill and Ted Face the Music. I was so hyped for this for so many years. Didn't quite live up to my hype, but I still really enjoy it. It's a nice cap off to the trilogy. Billy Madison. Birds of Prey. Honestly, underrated film in the DCEU. I actually really enjoyed that one. Black Adam. Black Sheep, not the best Chris Farley comedy. Blade Trinity. Blade 2. I don't have Blade 1 yet. So don't ask me why. The Blind Side. Blue Beetle, which is possibly canon to the DCU. I don't know. Bohemian Rhapsody got me into Queen. The Bourne trilogy. I do not own the Jeremy Renner Bourne movie, but I do have Jason Bourne. The attempt at rebooting the franchise or revamping the franchise didn't turn out too well. Boyhood, very fascinating experiment in filmmaking. The Boys in the Boat. Brother Bear and Brother Bear 2, childhood classics. The Bridge on the River Kwai. Brightburn. Disappointed in how that one turned out. Cool concept. If Superman was bad when he got to Earth. The Breakfast Club. Breaking Bad Season 1. Breaking Bad The Complete Season 2. Which brings us to Breaking Bad The Complete Third Season. Breaking Bad The Complete Fourth Season. Breaking Bad The Fifth Season. Part 1, I think. And then Breaking Bad The Final Season. As well as the epilogue of El Camino. Fantastic show, but you don't have to hear it from me. I watched that for the first time just a couple of years ago and fell in love with it. Brothers, kind of underrated, really good Jake Gyllenhaal and fantastic Tobey Maguire performance. Bruce Almighty. Bumblebee, easily the best of the live-action Transformers films, in my opinion. Buried, underrated Ryan Reynolds film and performance. The Campaign. Ape Fear. De Niro is super freaky in that one. Captain Phillips. Captain Underpants. Yes, you can see. I did see that in theaters. Casablanca. Casino. Castaway. Probably still my favorite Tom Hanks movie. The Cat in the Hat. Guilty pleasure. Grew up with it. My wife and I quote it all the time. Cats. This is basically a equivalent to me wearing a I Survived Cats shirt. I will never watch this again, but I went, see if it's here. Yep. I went opening night. To go see Cats. It's like a badge of honor. Central Intelligence. Challengers, one of my favorites from last year. Charlie St. Cloud. Christine. Kind of a schlocky B horror movie. Christmas Vacation. Gotta watch it every year. Christopher Robin. Chronicle. Probably my favorite found footage movie ever made because I don't really care for those too much. The Chronicles of Narnia. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Prince Caspian. Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Cinderella. Cinderella. Probably one of the best live-action Disney remakes out there, probably. Citizen Kane. Clear and Present Danger. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Clue. Coco. I love Coco. One of my favorite Pixar movies, especially of the last decade or whatever. Collateral Damage. The Color Purple, the musical remake. Commando. He's dead tired. The Conjuring. The Conjuring. The Conjuring 2. Cool Hand Luke. Copland. Coraline, my wife's favorite movie of all time. Definitely watch it every Halloween. The Covenant. Creature of the Black Lagoon. Crawl. Underrated little thriller movie, Crawl. I really enjoy it. Crazy Rich Asians by the now wicked director John M. Chu. Dinner for Schmucks and Crazy Stupid Love. I definitely enjoy Crazy Stupid Love more than Dinner for Schmucks, but my wife really loves Dinner for Schmucks. I'll watch it every once in a while with her. Creed. Creed 2. And Creed 3. The weakest of the Creed trilogy. My favorite is honestly Creed 2, but what a fantastic way to continue the Rocky franchise. DC Super Pets, the first Warner Brothers Blu-ray ever received. Too bad I didn't like the movie all that much. Dan in Real Life. Daredevil, the Ben Affleck film. Not great. Days of Thunder. Deadpool and Deadpool 1. I keep Deadpool and Wolverine in the MCU collection for the meantime. I don't have it next to Deadpool 1 and 2, but that could change in the future. That's just how I'm doing it for now. Death Proof. Probably my least favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Deepwater Horizon. Demolition Man. The Departed. Despicable Me. Despicable Me 2. And Despicable Me 3. I don't own 4 yet, and honestly don't know if I'm going to. It was fine. Detective Pikachu. Still waiting for the sequel for that one. The Devil Wears Prada. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid trilogy. Childhood right there. Die Hard. Die Hard 2. Die Hard with a Vengeance. My favorite Die Hard film. And Live Free or Die Hard. I don't have Die Hard 5. Dirty Dancing. The Disaster Artist. Fantastic little film. Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. Don't Worry, Darling. Got a lot of flack when it came out. I really enjoyed this. Do You Believe? A faith-based film. Due Date. Kind of a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake. Duel. Steven Spielberg's very first directed film. Dumb and Dumber. Classic. Dumb and Dumber 2. Not as classic, but I was there opening day. Dumbo. Dune Part 1, technically. Dune Part 2, in my opinion, way superior to Dune Part 1. Dunkirk. Django Unchained, one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films. Drive. Ryan Gosling. The Edge of 17, one of the better modern day coming of age stories. Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. I call it Edge of Tomorrow. That's why it's with the E's. Elektra. Good to see you back in Deadpool and Wolverine, Jennifer Gardner. Not my favorite movie. Elf. If not my favorite Christmas movie, definitely in the top 3. Equilibrium. Escape from New York. Escape Plan. Arnold and Sylvester Stallone's first team up, I believe. Kind of disappointing that it was their first. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Classic. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Phenomenal film from 2023. The Exorcist. Or was that 2022? I don't remember. The Expendables. The Expendables 2. The Expendables 3. I do not own Expendables 4 because honestly, that's kind of where they lost me. I never really was a big fan of that franchise. Face Off. I want to take his face off. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Never got into those movies. That's the only one I own. Fantastic Four. Double feature, actually. Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. Fourth Stick. Oh, come on, Marvel. You got to save these characters. Fargo. The Fast and Furious. First one. Too Fast, Too Furious. My least favorite one. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious, technically the fourth and kind of the revamp of the franchise. Fast 5, easily my favorite and the best one. Fast Furious 6. Furious 7. Fast and Furious, the Fate of the Furious, I should say. And F9. I do not own Fast and Furious 10 yet, or Fast X, whatever they called it. Hobbs and Shaw. The Fault in Our Stars, devastating movie. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, probably my favorite John Hughes movie after Home Alone. Field of Dreams. Fight Club. We won't talk about it. The Fighter and Warrior double pack. Very good movies. Warrior is probably my favorite one. Finding Nemo. Pixar classic. Finding Dory. Finding Neverland. A very different Finding movie. The Fly. Jeff Goldblum. Fire with Fire. Never seen it. I don't even know why I picked that up. Forrest Gump. The Fox and the Hound and The Fox and the Hound 2 was once my favorite Disney animated film. Still love it though. Frosty the Snowman. With Frosty Returns as well. Christmas specials I watch every year. The Flash Season 1. The Flash Season 2, which might be the peak of the show. The Flash Season 3. The Flash Season 4, which is kind of where I started to trail off. The Flash Season 5. And The Flash Season 6. Last season I watched of the show. It's when I officially fell off. Which is going to bring us to the Flash movie. I don't care what anyone says. I really like that movie. Flight Plan. Freedom Riders. Frozen. Frozen 2. I kind of like the second Frozen more than I like the first Frozen, if I'm being honest with you. The Fugitive. Full Metal Jacket. Furiosa, a movie that I was kind of lukewarm on when I left the theater, but has grown on me quite a bit since I've been watching it at home. Fury, underrated war film, and a fantastic performance by the whole ensemble. Game Night, one of my favorite modern day comedy films. Get On Up. Get Out. Get Smart. Ghostbusters. I think I only have Ghostbusters 1. I don't think I own Ghostbusters 2 or any of the other ones. Gladiator. Not that I don't like the other ones, but Gladiator, though. Classic. God's Not Dead. Godzilla. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. This might be when they start to get out of order a bit. Good Will Hunting. The Great Gatsby. Gatsby. The Green Mile. The Hangover. I believe this is the first one. Yeah, Hangover 1. The Hateful Eight. The Heat. Hellboy and Hellboy 2. The only Hellboy films I own and have seen. Hell or High Water. Underrated film. Very good. The Help. He's Just Not That Into You. My wife had me watch this for the first time, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. High School Musical. High School Musical 2. And High School Musical 3. The trilogy of my generation. Let's be honest. Get your head in the game. Hitch. Hitchcock. Um, Film about Alfred Hitchcock's life as he was making Psycho. Very underrated, very good. The Holdovers, new Christmas classic, especially in my household. Home Alone. Home Alone 2, classic Christmas films, especially in my house. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I love this movie as a kid. Doesn't hold up as well, but I still enjoy it. Hoodwinked, again, loved it as a kid. Doesn't hold up too well. Hook. Horton Hears a Who. Hot Fuzz. Hotel Transylvania. And Hotel Transylvania 2, the only ones that I like. How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon 2. And How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World. Very interested to see what they're going to do with the live action version come later this year. But as far as the trilogy goes, underrated animated film. I love it. Hugo. Hulk. Ang Lee's Hulk. Haven't seen that in a while. The Hurt Locker. Ice Age. Ice Age 2. And Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Those are the only Ice Age films I own. Inception. The Incredibles. And The Incredibles 2. I still like the first Incredibles more than the second Incredibles, but I enjoy them both quite a lot. Independence Day. The Indiana Jones Complete Adventures, but hold on, they weren't complete until 2023 when we got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Another hot take on the channel, my least favorite Indiana Jones film. My favorite Indiana Jones film is still The Last Crusade. Inglourious Bastards, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Quentin Tarantino film. Inside Out, still have yet to get my hands on the masterpiece that is Inside Out 2. Instant Family, underrated little family film. I really like that one. Interstellar, one of Christopher Nolan's best, in my opinion. The Invisible Man, underrated horror film. I, Robot. The Iron Giant. Who doesn't tear up to this one? Come on. Superman. It, the 1990 miniseries put into a 3-hour movie. It, Chapter 1. Probably my favorite horror film of all time, if I'm being honest with you. And It, Chapter 2. Nowhere near as good as the first one. Don't really like that one all that much. And It Could Happen to You. It's a Wonderful Life. Jackie Brown. Not my least favorite Quentin Tarantino film, but one that I find the most... it's not very rewatchable. Jaws. Classic. One of my favorite movies of all time. James and the Giant Peach. Jojo Rabbit. My favorite film from 2019. And now I can say underrated. Underrated film. John Carter. John Wick, the Baba Yaga himself, along with John Wick Chapter 2 and John Wick Chapter 3. Don't ask me why I don't have John Wick Chapter 4 yet. I'm beating myself over the head that I don't have that yet. I gotta get that. King Kong versus Godzilla, the original one. The King's Speech. The Labyrinth. La La Land. I don't know why this movie got so much hate. It's awesome. It's a fantastic musical. The Last Starfighter. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Les Miserables. Liar Liar, perhaps my favorite Jim Carrey physical comedy performance. Little Woman from Greta Gerwig, who brought us Barbie. London Has Fallen. The Lost Boys. The Lost City. Underrated film this was. I saw this with my wife on a date night, and we both really enjoyed it. Mad Max Fury Road. I don't have the other Mad Max movies, and I don't know why. The Maltese Falcon. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The Man with No Name trilogy, consisting of A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, if I remember correctly. Yeah, A Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Clint Eastwood classics. The Man Who Killed Hitler, and then The Bigfoot. I bought this purely on title alone. My friends and I watched this at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Not as good as the title would suggest it to be, but still pretty schlocky and stupid. Kind of fun. The Matrix, Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions. I don't have Matrix 4 yet, and this comes with an Animatrix movie as well, which I've never seen. The Maze Runner trilogy. Jim Carrey's Me, Myself, and Irene, and a guilty pleasure of mine, Shallow Hal. I know a lot of people hate Shallow Hal. I get it, but I like it. Men in Black trilogy. Men in Black International. Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson trying to restart the franchise. Didn't quite go their way. Midnight in Paris. And Minority Report. All right, moving right along, we've got Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible 2, easily the weakest of the entire franchise. Mission Impossible 3, underrated in the franchise. I love that one. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. This is where they really started to kick things off. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation was my favorite until Mission Impossible Fallout. And then I have Mission Impossible 7 kicking around here somewhere. Like I said, these are going to start to get out of order at this point. Glass Split and Unbreakable trilogy, which I like Glass more than most people do. My favorite in there is probably Split and then Unbreakable, to be honest. Moana. Absolutely adore Moana. Monster House. Monsters, Inc. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Doubtfire. Murder on the Orient Express. Mystery Man, underrated comedy Mystery Man, and ahead of its time. The Never-Ending Story. Nightcrawler, underrated, and Jake Gyllenhaal gives a fantastic performance in Nightcrawler. Knives Out. I only have Knives Out because Netflix will not release Knives Out 2, and I'm looking forward to Knives Out 3 this year. Oblivion. Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and Ocean's 13. Olympus Has Fallen. Down onto the ground. Once Upon a Deadpool. This is the PG-13 cut that they did for Deadpool 2. Kind of a fascinating experiment to kind of compare the R-rated version to the PG-13 version, see what they were able to get away with in the PG-13 version. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't know why this is starting to get a bad rep. This is one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films of all time. One Direction, This Is Us. I'm a big One Direction fan. So yeah, I have the movie. R.I.P. Liam. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan classic, I think we can say at this point. Orca the Killer Whale. Killer whales, the orca, is my favorite animal of all time, mostly because of my experience growing up with Free Willy. This is a schlocky kind of Jaws ripoff horror film of an orca that goes on a killing rampage for this fisherman after he kills his wife and unborn child. It is ridiculous and a lot of fun. Underrated, schlocky little movie. Highly recommend checking it out if you want a good time. The Other Guys. Purple Rain. I, Tonya. And with that, that completes the shelf behind me. But before we move on from that shelf entirely, I've got some collections sitting up there as well. Starting with the James D. film collection, all 3 movies, East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and a Giant that he did before his untimely death. Rebel Without a Cause is my favorite for sure. The Planet of the Apes saga, consisting of the first 5 movies. The first one is still the best one. James Bond, the complete collection. Well, it was the complete collection until No Time to Die, but this goes all the way from Dr. No to Spectre. Alfred Hitchcock collection, consisting of, I think, 10 movies. There's a whole bunch in here of Hitchcock classics that I love. And Warner Brothers was kind enough to send me the collection of the Superman films, from Superman the movie all the way to Superman 4 on 4K. And it also comes with the Richard Donner cut, which is pretty cool. All right, so this is where things are going to start to get really out of order. These are movies that when I was coming in here after moving, I got kind of lazy, stopped putting them in order, just started throwing them onto the shelf. So without further ado, let's just get into this hot mess. Reservoir Dogs, put Quentin Tarantino on the map, one of his best still. The Revenant. The Rocky collection up to Rocky 6, which now we've got the Creed movies as well. So not the complete collection, I guess. And then Warner Brothers sent me the Rocky 4 film collection, which also has the Rocky 4 Sylvester Stallone director's cut on it. Rocket Man, Rambo, First Blood, my favorite of the Rambo films and one of my favorite action films of all time. Rambo Part 2, Rambo 3, my least favorite of the Rambo films, I would say. Well, then there's Rambo Last Blood. We'll get to it. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This movie's grown on me over the years, even though I really enjoyed it when I first saw it. And with Andor, it's even better now. Room got Blake Lively. It got Captain Marvel. What's her freaking name? Not Blake Lively. Why is Blake Lively the only thing in my head? Brie Larson. It got Brie Larson her Oscar before she went to the MCU. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Classic Christmas. Gotta watch it. The Santa Claus. The Santa Claus 2. And the Santa Claus 3. Not my favorite Santa Claus movie. Saving Mr. Banks. Rambo, the fourth one. Very hard to watch in some regards. Rambo, The Last Blood. That's my least favorite one. Rampage, I should say. Ratatouille, Pixar classic. Ready Player One. I really enjoyed this film. It gets a lot of hate nowadays, but I really enjoyed that film. Red. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, and Scream 4, the collection Blu-ray. Then we got Scream 5. And then we've got one of my favorite ones, Scream 6. Despite all the controversy and everything going on, I'm still excited to see what they do with Scream 7. Searching, underrated, so good. 7. The Shallows, underrated shark film. Blake Lively, actual Blake Lively that time. Shaun of the Dead. Robin Hood, didn't grow up with that one. Shawshank Redemption, one of the best movies ever made. Shazam, with a pretty fun lenticular cover there. I really enjoy that. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, big step down from the first one in my opinion. Sherlock, the complete first season, and Sherlock, the complete second season. Shrek, bona fide classic movie. Shrek 2, still my favorite of the Shrek films. Shrek 3, don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, but definitely a step down from Shrek 2. And Shrek Forever After. Looking forward to seeing what they do with Shrek 5 come next year. Saving Private Ryan. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Shutter Island. I do have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We'll get there. Signs, one of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan films. Singing in the Rain. The Sixth Sense, probably M. Night Shyamalan's most popular film and one of my favorites for sure. Smokey and the Bandit. Snowden. The Social Network. So I Married an Axe Murderer, one of Mike Myers' most popular film. Son of God. Soul Surfer, very inspirational story. The Sound of Music, classic. Spaceballs. I said earlier that Airplane is probably my favorite spoof movie of all time. Spaceballs is actually probably my favorite spoof movie of all time. Space Jam. I don't have the second one. Didn't really care for it. Speed. Definitely don't have Speed 2. Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's start to a classic trilogy. Spider-Man 2, my favorite Spider-Man movie ever made, still to this day. Then we got Spider-Man 3. You know, didn't turn out the best, but I still enjoyed it. I can watch it perfectly fine. Star Trek Into Darkness. Like I said, these are starting to get out of order. Star Trek Beyond. Somewhere I've got the first Star Trek kicking around. Star Wars, the complete George Lucas 6-film collection. That's what I still consider Star Wars when I think about Star Wars. Those are the films I still think about the most. Star Wars The Force Awakens. You bet your butt I was there opening day. This was such a fantastic theatrical experience. The excitement around this movie is still something I have very fond memories about. And I still really enjoy the movie, even though I know where the trilogy goes and I don't personally like where the trilogy goes. I still enjoy the first one quite a bit. Star Wars The Last Jedi. And then we got Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Step Brothers, one of my favorite modern day comedies of all time. Storks, a cute little animated film that kind of flew under the radar and everyone forgot about. Taken. Taken is one of my favorite action films as well. Taken 2, not as good as the first one. Then we just go downhill with Taken 3. That was pretty bad. Tangled, one of my favorite modern day Disney animations. There we go. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, one of my favorite animated films of this decade for sure, and one of the best Spider-Man films ever made. Spirit, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. In my generation, we would call this a classic. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Sponge Out of Water, not as bad as I thought it was going to be when I first saw that in theaters. It was actually done pretty well. Spotlight, Star Trek motion picture collection consisting of Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home, aka the only ones that I like. Here we go. The first Star Trek from J.J. Abrams. Strangers on a Train, Alfred Hitchcock classic, and one of his more underrated ones, in my opinion. Stuart Little. Suicide Squad. This was a fun theatrical experience. Convinced myself that I really liked this movie because everyone was fangirling around me when I watched it. Went back to see it again. Movie fell apart in front of my eyes. But I still think it has some enjoyable moments. The Suicide Squad. This is just a great movie. I've watched this multiple times and it still holds up every time I watch it. James Gunn, thank you so much for that. Super 8. The Switch. Tarzan. Taxi Driver, classic Scorsese for sure, and a lot of Joker inspiration from that, or Joker took a lot of inspiration from that. Ted, I don't have Ted 2, but I actually somewhat like Ted 2 more than the first Ted. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles 2, and Turtles 3, which we just don't talk about. TMNT 2007, watched that in theaters. Doesn't hold up quite as well, but I still enjoy it. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michael Bay produced ones with the director who no one's name they remember. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, and that kind of killed that franchise, didn't it? Then we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I thought was very cute and enjoyable. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the sequel. Teen Wolf, the movie that Michael J. Fox thought was going to end his career. 10 Commandments, classic. The Terminator. The Terminator 2. The Terminator 3. Don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, but definitely a big step down from the first two. Terminator Salvation. Terminator Genesis, not great. And Terminator Dark Fate. Don't hate it too much, but it's not my favorite. The Theory of Everything. The Thing. This is the prequel remake that they did in 2011, I think. The Classic Thing from John Carpenter. The Three Amigos. Throw Mama from the Train. A fun companion piece to watch with strangers on a train, as this is kind of like a remake, semi-homage to that film. Titanic. James Cameron classic. Tomb Raider. You know what? It's actually a shame that Alicia Vikander did not get to do another one of these. I thought she was great in the role, and I actually think that this is a pretty underrated, fun adventure film. Tommy Boy. Chris Farley classic. Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick. Freaking classic. Total Recall. Toy Story. Toy Story 2. Toy Story 3, which is where they should have ended it. And then they ended up doing Toy Story 4, which is, again, where they should have ended it. Now we're getting Toy Story 5. I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out. All over. Toy Story of Terror, the Halloween special they did, and Toy Story That Time Forgot, the Christmas special they did. Both really good specials that hold up to the quality of Toy Story. Training Day, Denzel Washington classic. Transformers, the first Michael Bay one. I saw this in theaters with my dad back in 2007. It blew my mind. Honestly, this was my Jurassic Park experience of my lifetime. And the movie itself, I still enjoy. I don't think it's great, but it compared to the other Transformers movies, it's actually pretty decent. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, not good. Transformers Dark of the Moon, I still enjoy this one as well. And the end set battle in Chicago, phenomenal. And I think that's where my Transformer movies end. I don't have the fourth or the fifth. Tremors, the very first one. Tropic Thunder. Couldn't make this movie today. Even Ben Stiller agrees, and it's awesome. True Lies. Finally on physical media. True Lies. The Truman Show. One of my favorite Jim Carrey dramatic performances. Twister. I don't have Twisters yet. Give me some time. I'll definitely be picking that up soon. And Unforgiven. My favorite Western movie. Universal Monsters Collection. This has Dracula, the Invisible Man, Frankenstein, and the Bride of Frankenstein, as well as, did I say Wolfman? It has Wolfman in there as well. Unstoppable, pretty fun action film based on a true story. Up, we know Pixar's classic. Upgrade, pretty underrated film, and a better Venom film that came out the same time as Venom. Us, Jordan Peele. Venom, saw that in theaters, and Venom Let There Be Carnage. I think those are the only Sony adjacent Spider-Man films that you're going to see popping up in this collection. V for Vendetta. The Visit. M. Night Shyamalan's kind of return to form. The Walk. Underrated film. Pretty suspenseful. Wall-E. Warm Bodies. Underrated film as well. I think a lot of people got scared away from that because it was like a in the era of Twilight, romance with zombies, but it's actually pretty good. War of the Worlds. The Watchers from the previous last year. Waterworld. Waterworld. Wayne's World. Wayne's World 2. Nowhere near as good as the first Wayne's World. The Wedding Singer, one of Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore's best. The Weekend at Bernie's. I do not have Weekend at Bernie's 2. That movie's terrible. Welcome to Marwen. We're the Millers. Hilarious comedy of the last decade. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. My wife's finally coming around on that movie. Bridesmaids. Like I said, we're starting to get out of order here. Wonder. Sweet little movie. Wonder Woman. You will not see Wonder Woman 1984 in this video. Wonka. Such a delightful film from 2023. And from the director of Paddington. So, you know it was charming as heck. The World's End. Wreck-It Ralph. One of the modern-day Disney animated classics. And Ralph Breaks the Internet. Not as classic. In fact, a major step down. The X-Men trilogy. X-Men, X-Men 2, and X-Men Last Stand. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's mostly for completion's sake. You got to have it. The Wolverine. Underrated in the X-Men catalog. X-Men First Class. X-Men The Days of Future Past. One of the best X-Men films ever made. X-Men Apocalypse. Don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, but I see all the criticisms. And X-Men Dark Phoenix. Terrible. Terrible film. Yesterday. Kind of underrated. I thought it was a unique story. Young Frankenstein, another spoof classic from Mel Brooks. Zathura, grew up with that. It's classic in my childhood anyways. Zodiac. Zombieland. Or is this Zombieland 2? This might be Zombieland 2, actually. Nope, this is the first one. This is Zombieland. Zombieland Double Tap. Zombieland 2. There we go. Zoolander. Isn't there more to life than being really, really good looking? The Blue Steel. I love Zoolander. I do not love Zoolander 2. And you will not see Zoolander 2 pop up in this video. Zootopia. Excited to see what they do with that sequel later this year. Abigail. This is one of my favorites from last year. And so happy to own it. I'll watch it every Halloween moving forward. Andor Season 1. Cannot wait for Andor Season 2. One of my favorite Disney Plus Star Wars show by far. Blink Twice. Another thriller from last year. Trap. Probably my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film since Split. The Wizard of Oz. Recently rewatched that after watching Wicked. Better than I remember it being. I mean, it's a classic film. Of course, it's great. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, especially after Wicked. The Kingsman. Not to be confused with The Kingsman. Moving right along, we got another Western, Hang 'em High. Yeah, these are really going to start to get out of order. Hannah Montana, the movie. What can I say? I grew up on this. I grew up on this stuff. I love it. Hacksaw Ridge, probably my favorite modern day war film, to be honest. Andrew Garfield gives a phenomenal performance in that. The Harry Potter 8 film collection. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's a great idea to do that TV show on HBO Max. Looking forward to seeing what they do with it. The Hard Way. I think it's a little bit of an underrated Michael J. Fox film. Happy Feet. Happy Gilmore. Probably my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time. Not going to lie. Catching Fire. Hunger Games. I think I only have Hunger Games 1 and 2. I'm not a big fan of that franchise. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You can still feel his dead skin in the cover here. They give you this disgusting mossy looking cover. You know, it's the Grinch's skin. They skinned him and put him on the Blu-ray. La 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 la. La La Land. No, it's not. This is I'm starting to lose it. This is Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp, a Disney classic. The Land Before Time, a classic in my eyes. I watched that endlessly as a kid. Kubo and the Two Strings, talk about underrated. Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda 2. Kung Fu Panda 3. I don't have Kung Fu Panda 4. Not yet, anyways. King Kong, the original classic King Kong. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. What a pleasant surprise that was when it came out. And we got Jurassic Park, the trilogy. We got the first one, the second one, and Jurassic Park 3. And then we've got Jumanji, Next Level. This is the first movie that my wife and I ever saw. I took her on a date. Our very first date was to this movie in theaters. So not as good as the first one, but a very special place in my heart nonetheless. Madagascar 3. Man of Steel. Mary Poppins. Like I said, these are really out of order. The Mask. Not a Jim Carrey movie that's honestly holding up all that well. It's not aging that great, but I still love it. The Meg 2. Talk about a movie that doesn't age and isn't that great, but I still kind of love it. There it is. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Or I guess it's just Dead Reckoning now. They've changed it to Final Reckoning. Man, those Mission Impossible films are great. Missing, underrated film from 2023, and kind of a semi-sequel to Searching. I love Missing. That was a great movie. Mandalorian season 2. Yeah, complete season 2. I don't think I have season 1 yet, to be honest. Madagascar 2. Monsters versus Aliens. Loved this as a kid. Not so much now, but as a kid I did. Nobody. Really excited to see Nobody 2. That was a fun, underrated little action film. Memento. Christopher Nolan classic. The Meg. This is the first one. I like The Meg as a schlocky little shark movie more than the first one. Megamind, one of my favorite DreamWorks film of all time and underrated. Madagascar. The Little Mermaid. It looks like a DVD, but it is a Blu-ray. I can confirm. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Wings. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. All of those are the extended editions. And then this one here is the Lord of the Rings trilogy theatrical edition. So I got the extended edition singly, and then I've got Lord of the Rings theatrical cuts on a collection. And I don't have the Hobbit films yet. I'm still looking to get those. The Lego Movie. The Land of the Lost. Joker, back when people just beloved this Todd Phillips vision of the Joker. Joker Folia do? Didn't do so great for that. The Jungle Book, the live action remake. Yeah, I'm a big believer. Justin Bieber, never say never. I've held on to that for a very long time. Big Justin Bieber fan ever since he came onto the scene. Jonas Brothers. Again, some stuff from my childhood that is nostalgic. It seems a little weird to own it now as a 26-year-old, but what you gonna do? Justice League, the theatrical cut that I'll never watch again. Oh, shoot. John Wick 4. Look at that. I do own John Wick Chapter 4. That makes me feel better. Patriots Day. The Polar Express. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the beginning of a fantastic new trilogy. Pacific Rim. I told you, these are going to be way out of order. Puss in Boots, 2011. I honestly haven't gone back to that film until Last Wish came out. Paddington, just such a delightful bear and movie, and everything and family adventure. Oh, movies are falling. Movies are falling. Movies are falling. War for the Planet of the Apes. Paddington 2, better than the first one. Pineapple Express, one of my favorite Seth Rogen comedies. The Phone Booth. Joel Schumacher is remembered mostly for Batman and Robin, but that's actually a really good film. Bulblart Mall Cop. Definitely don't own the sequel to that one. Pacific Rim 2. I forgot I own that. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And unfortunately, I'm behind on my collecting a bit, so I do not have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes just yet. Parasite. Fantastic film. Pete's Dragon. Grew up with this. I love it. It's a classic in my opinion. The Prestige. Another Christopher Nolan classic. And Prometheus. Take it or leave it. All right, I have no idea how long this video is, but I've gone through this a little bit faster than in the past previously, so we are in the final stretch of movies. If you've made it this far, just know I truly appreciate you. Comment down below pineapple to let me know that you've made it this far in the video, and I thank you all for watching. Here we go, the final stretch. We've got Paranorman. Watch that every Halloween. Underrated little film. Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino's probably most beloved film. Pinocchio. Never really got the hype for that one. It scarred me as a kid. Peter Pan. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Predator. One of my favorite just action films. Predators. Those are like the only Predator movies I own. The Poltergeist. She's here. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I'm pretty sure that's the only Pirates movie I own. Patriot Games. Princess Bride. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, one of DreamWorks' best films in years. Prey, I lied. This is the last of the Predator films that I own. Love that movie. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Nope. Grown on me since I've seen it in theaters. The Notebook. Love that movie. Don't care what anyone says. The Night at the Museum. And I believe I have the trilogy. Yep, The Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. That's the last one they did. So this must be Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. The Naked Gun. Just the first one. No Country for Old Men. Fantastic performance by Javier Bardem. Gravity. Loved that movie when I saw it for the first time. Gran Torino. Get off my lawn. Galaxy Quest. Such a fun movie. And a spoof movie in some ways. Good Time. Underrated Robert Pattinson performance. Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Godzilla versus Kong. Gone with the Wind. Good Boys. I crack myself up with this movie. I think it's hilarious. The Last Action Hero. The Lego Batman movie. Ironically, one of the best Batman movies ever made. King Kong. The Peter Jackson, what Sully Streams and Jacob Hubbard would call classic. The Lego Movie 2. Nowhere near as good as the first one. Life of Pi. Not Mercy. Just Mercy. Just Mercy. Underrated film. Fantastic performances from Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. Justin Bieber, Believe. We've already talked about that. Jungle Cruise. Not the best rock movie. The Last Samurai. Tom Cruise. The live action Lion King. I haven't watched that since theaters. Green Lantern. The Greatest Showman. Fantastic musical. Goodfellas. Probably my favorite Scorsese. Grease and Grease 2 and Grease, the live show that they did a number of years back. I haven't watched that. The King of Comedy. The Kingsman. There we go. Secret Service. I do not own the sequel. It sucks. Limitless. Transformers Dark of the Moon. I guess I own 2 copies of Transformers Dark of the Moon. I didn't know I needed to. Lilo and Stitch Has a Glitch. And if you thought my X-Men collection wasn't complete yet, yes, it is. We've got Logan right there chilling. Jurassic World. I still have fun with Jurassic World. It's fun to see the park operational. Zack Snyder's Justice League, a movie I'll be honest I never thought was ever going to come out and be made, and it was, and it's awesome, and it's epic, and I'm glad that before the DCEU ended, we got it. Kingdom of Heaven, director's edition of Ridley Scott's. The classic Lion King. Kill Bill Volume 2, which means that this must be Kill Bill Volume 1. Some of my favorite Quentin Tarantino work. The original Jumanji in this kind of cool steelbook cover that they got. Kind of resembles the game. Kong Skull Island. One of my favorites from the Monsterverse. The Karate Kid, the first one and the only one of the original movies that I own. Kindergarten Cop. The Karate Kid remake with Jackie Chan. I guess it could just be called the Karate Kid Cinematic Universe now because we got Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio coming together for a movie later this year. Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom. I do not own Jurassic World Dominion because even though Fallen Kingdom isn't that great, Dominion was worse, and I have not bothered to pick that one up. With that, guys, looks like that is my movie Blu Ray collection. There's definitely some stuff I'm still looking to get, but that's what I own at the moment. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you're new here and you like content like this, we got a whole bunch more content on the channel. You can check it out right over there. I got a bunch more stuff to explore, and if you want to, consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you join us over here. As always, guys, thank you so much for hearing me out and for watching the video. Don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.